Bottom of inning number 1 in Kane County as the Cougars will come up to the plate for the first time tonight. Let's get you their lineup put together by their manager, George Samus, as he is back at the top step of the dugout. He starts off with Cornelius Randolph, Cougar outfielder that's been finding a lot of time in that top slot. He's also been pretty productive, too. He's picked up at least 3 hits in his last 2 games. He will lead off this game against the left-handed starter, Tyler Grauer, on the mound for the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. Big lefty, taking on another big lefty. With the left-handed hitting Randolph takes a strike low. Grauer's 6'5", 220 pounds. Played for Fargo-Moorhead last season, but still technically a rookie this year. The 0-1 is lined into left field. Cornelius Randolph goes the other way. Leadoff single, and the Cougars hopefully picking up their offensive rhythm early on here in the first game of this series.
Make it an 11-game hitting streak now for Randolph, and he looks very comfortable in that leadoff spot. We saw Ernie De La Trinidad at the beginning of the season as the leadoff man. He's been out hurt, and Randolph has slotted right in and done very well.
So 1 runner on for Sherman Johnson. Johnson has cooled off a little bit as of late. There's our buddy, Mr. Kaboom, out there in right center field. He's on a little bit of a delay, so that's only the top of his hat. And you're not going to see him pick up his head, because he's going to pick up his head. Oh, wait, how about there?
There he is.
He was not expecting that. Good job by the camera crew, leaving it on for him during that entire delay. It's like when you go to the zoo and you want to see one of the big turtles, and they're just in their shell. Oh boy, we got to get a camera on him soon. He's doing some calisthenics out there now. 2-0 to Johnson. Skied, shallow left center. Shortstop Dexter going out there. The wind is strong, but he's able to camp it down. Out number 1 of this first inning. Johnson now just 1 for his last 19. So runner on for Steve Lombardozzi. Tyler Grauer, by the way, making his 4th appearance this year, but only his 2nd start. He's had good numbers in the early going. He's 1-0 with an ERA below 1, 0.71. We'll keep an eye on Randolph over there at first. As we said earlier, Fargo-Moorhead in first place over in the West Division. They're a game above the Lincoln Salt Dogs with a 12-3 record. West is pretty good this year. Again, early on, but still, they've got 3 teams with 11 wins. The East does not have any teams with 11 wins. Cougars are 10-5, leading the East. If they were in the West, they'd be in 3rd place. They'd be tied with Kansas City, but they'd be above them in the winning percentage. This is now 1-1 count to Lombardozzi.
Well, that'll be something interesting to watch throughout the year. I mean, it's still early, but the divisions were realigned, so perhaps that could play out the rest of the year, that the West may be stronger, but it'll be 4 from each division making the postseason.
1-1 to Lombardozzi. 1-2 make it. Grauer works on that very aggressive third base side of the rubber. Lombardozzi stays alive with the foul ball. Seven-game hitting streak for Lombardozzi. Hitting nearly 500 during that stretch. Big reason why the Cougars have been putting up so many runs lately. Stays alive there with another foul ball. The Cougars have scored 27 runs in their last 2 games.
Yeah, it's been impressive to watch. Team batting average over 300, 15 games in. That's nothing to sneeze at.
1-2 is blooped to shallow left, and that'll get down. What an at-bat by Steve Lombardozzi. He may have cracked his bat on that swing, but now 2 runners on as Randolph gets pushed up to second. And a pair on for Jimmy Kerrigan.
That's when you know you're in a zone. As you said it, Joe, it sounded like this may be a broken bat for Steve Lombardozzi, but he's still able to float it out into left center field. And the Cougars threatening here with still just 1 out.
We've talked about it a few times. It is this deep lineup for the Cougars that's allowed them to do so well offensively. And here's Jimmy Kerrigan, who's really found himself in a nice rhythm. 4 extra base hits over the last 2 games. Belted his first home run of the year back on Saturday night. And then he doubled it up. Launched his first 2 home runs in the year. Good hook, but it missed. 1-0. In fact, you go over the last week for Jimmy Kerrigan, 9 extra base hits over his last 7 games. And this Cougars offense is still a little bit banged up. Bryce Brent's officially going on the inactive list earlier today. If you haven't noticed, the Cougars are still without Gally Cribbs. They're still without Ernie De La Trinidad. But still able to put up these big offensive numbers. As Kerrigan holds his swing, 2-0. Two and 1 the count. Well, you don't ever like to take the weather into account in your game plan, but again, with a threat of rain, you'd like to see the Cougars just move down this lineup as Nick Anderson waits on deck. Put together a nice little cushion and get the game going on. 2-1. Little cue off the end of the bat. Maris to Dexter for 1, and that'll be a 4-6-3 double play to end the inning. Cougars get a couple of hits, but no runs. We've played 1. We've got no score. We head to the second from Kane County.
Head to the third base side of the concourse. A fresh wood-fired pizza from Big Bricks.
Fargo Moorhead able to squeeze out a run in the top of the second inning thanks to a bloop single. Now the Cougars trying to even things up, maybe take a lead here in the bottom of the second. Nick Anderson, BJ Lopez, and Alexis Pantoja do it for the Cougars in this bottom of the second. Tyler Grauer on the mound for his second inning of work, now working with a 1-run lead. Coughed up 2 singles in the first, but no runs. Anderson takes low, 1-0. Mentioned Tyler Grauer, a big left-hander from Shawnee, Kansas. He went to Indiana State University, which is of the Missouri Valley Conference, the Sycamores. Not to be confused with the more superior ISU around the Midwest. Also lettered in basketball in high school, won a 2016 state championship. I don't think it's too surprising that he played other sports, especially basketball. Lifted well to right center field, but Sanford off with the cap, waits for the ball, makes the catch for out number 1.
Yeah, I have to imagine being 6'5" in Kansas basketball has to be a pretty big advantage. Not to say there's not good basketball played in Kansas, but you know, you have some of the smaller schools out there.
Well, again, I mean, who knows how tall he was in high school, but I'm sure he was bigger than some of the other guys. B.J. Lopez digs in. Heck, I was telling Jack Michaels, radio voice of the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks, who's in town. He was asking about, not asking, he was telling me that he calls Tyler Grauer Sycamore, because he is like just a big tree out there. Here's a sharp grounder to short. Dexter with it. And there's out number 2. But I told him to Google Larry Bird baseball, Indiana State. That was a pretty surprising picture of Larry Bird playing baseball for Indiana State.
Really?
I don't know how long he was on the team for. Maybe one game. Maybe it was an exhibition. But yeah, you could go to images.
Well, I'm reading that he played as a dare.
Here's a roller to second. Peter Maris up with it. And that is a 1-2-3 inning for the big Sycamore. Tyler Grauer. It's 1-0 Fargo-Moorhead. Connor Klingen has your play-by-play when we come back in the 3rd inning. Don't go anywhere.
Bottom of the 3rd inning, it's a 2-0 lead for the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks against the Cougars in the first game of this 3-game series between 2 first-place teams in the American Association. Fargo-Moorhead on top in the West. These teams 15 games into the year. And Fargo-Moorhead with a 9-game winning streak. And they've jumped out to a 2-0 edge. Donovan Williams will lead it off for the Cougars. 8-9-1 due up here against Tyler Grauer, the big left-hander for Fargo-Moorhead. As Williams pops it up foul. Donovan Williams had his first 2 at-bats as a Cougar on Sunday and went 2 for 2. He came into that game as a pinch hitter. One of his 2 hits, though, was just a pop-up in the infield that got caught in the wind and ended up landing just to the side of first base. It's another windy night tonight. And Williams hits this ball sinking towards the right field line. That's going to drop as Silviano can't get there. And Williams into second with a double. His second double already in just 2 games played for the Cougars.
We've seen the wind play a couple of tricks the past couple of nights. A few nights ago, it was blowing in from the first base line. This time it's blowing out down the right field line. I think Williams knows as soon as that ball drops, I'm taking at least 2 bases. Give credit to Silviano, though. Nice job collecting it on one hop. Good strong throw over on the infield, because I think Williams was definitely thinking possibility of turning that into a triple.
Here's Milton Perez, his first at-bat of the season for the Cougars. And he is a left-handed hitter. As that's in there for a strike to even up the count at 1-1. So Milton Perez just added to the Cougars roster today. He had been serving as the bullpen catcher. Perez originally from Puerto Rico. Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, which is also the hometown of Carlos Delgado. Had a great career with the Blue Jays, Marlins, and Mets. That's an island that has a lot of pride in the baseball that's played there. As there's a swing and a miss at the 2-1. Of course, when you think of catchers, Milton Perez's case, Ivan Rodriguez from Puerto Rico. Here's the 2-2. And Perez fouls it away just over near the on-deck circle. That wind still blustering out to right field. As there you see some fans over on the hill, hoping to end up with a foul ball tonight. 2-2 up the middle. The shortstop Dexter comes over and tosses to first for the out, but a productive out for Milton Perez, as Donovan Williams will advance to third.
Yeah, definitely a productive out. Even though Milton Perez has technically been the bullpen catcher for the Cougars this season, he has been in the hitting cage quite a bit. He's been at the Turtle during batting practice, doing all those things. All right, move him over, bring him in. All those fun batting practice games. So definitely taking a page out of that book into that at bat. Cougars are trying to get on the board for the first time tonight.
And that brings the top of the order back up with Cornelius Randolph, who singled his first time up but was stranded at second base. And Randolph has really been on a tear. The top of this lineup, he's now stretched it to an 11-game hitting streak. He's had a hit in every game he's played this season. (1-0) to him. Fouled over near the Cougar dugout. And Freddie Flores will take it.
That's winning manager Freddie Flores.
Yes.
2-0.
Now, I don't know how that works, if he gets credit for the game when George Samus was ejected in the first.
Well, that's what Matt Passarelli said, as the Cougars hitting coach and third base coach.
1-1, high chopper. The first baseman, Boscan, fields it. The run comes in to score, though, so the Cougars cut the Red Hawks lead in half, as Donovan Williams comes across on the ground out by Cornelius Randolph.
To me, that's a really good base running play by Donovan Williams, because Boscan does a nice job of elevating up in the air to glove that ground ball, a bouncing ball rather, and he just takes off, because it's going to be really tough for Boscan to come down, straighten out his body, and fire home to make sure it's a good throw to Correa to apply the tag. And Boscan quickly ditches that and decides, okay, I'll win the race over to first, and he did.
So here's Sherman Johnson. Yeah, Donovan Williams just added this past weekend, and he's known for his defensive prowess and just a really smart ball player as well, as you saw right there on that base running play. I was talking to Sherman Johnson before this game. He's excited for the college baseball tournament. The bracket was just announced earlier. His Florida State Seminoles, a 3 seed in the Auburn Regional. But he did mention, you know, a couple teams got snubbed from hosting, including Notre Dame not hosting a regional. NC State also, who reached the finals of the ACC tournament. So a couple teams, tough decisions from the selection committee, but that's usually the case across the board in college sports, which is the great thing about the pros, is you don't have to worry about any sort of selection committee. There's a swing and a miss from Johnson for strike 3, but the Cougars do get on the board on the RBI ground out from Cornelius Randolph. We head to the 4th with Fargo ahead 2-1. Bottom of the 4th inning, the Cougars trail 2-1. Steve Lombardozzi will lead it off for Kane County, 3-4-5, due up against Tyler Grauer. And what a play it was at first by Lombardozzi to end the top half of this 4th, making a diving catch after Donovan Williams was able to field that bunt. The Cougars able to retire Darian Sanford. Lombardozzi skies this ball to the right side. Foul out of play. Well, Steve Lombardozzi has shown to be a very valuable addition to this team. Not just the big league experience, but the positional versatility. Playing at first tonight. He was actually originally in the lineup tonight at third base. It was a late change. Josh Roulette had been at first. He comes out. Lombardozzi plays first and makes that kind of play. Oh, 2 popped up back behind home plate.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hopefully everything okay with Roulette. Earlier on this year, just seemed to be a little bit banged up and always wanted to be cautious to not hurt things too much that would affect him later on throughout the year. So probably just the right move by Cougars, just being a little cautious.
0-2, grounded sharply, but played on a couple hops by Pena, and he tosses it over to Boscan for the first out.
Center fielder, number 3.
So Lombardozzi retired. That brings up Jimmy Kerrigan. He grounded into a double play his first time up tonight, but he's been swinging a hot bat, just like the majority of this Cougars lineup. Coming into this game, it was 40 combined hits in the last 2 games. Kerrigan takes a good breaking ball for a strike.
How often in baseball do we talk about how they come in bunches? Cougars trying to make sure that wasn't just a trendy thing. They want to keep it going as long as they possibly can.
Kerrigan lines the 0-1 over the outstretched glove of Pena and into left field for a base hit. And the Cougars have a man aboard with 1 out. Good piece of hitting by Kerrigan to go down and get that one. Now Nick Anderson steps in. Nick Anderson from the Houston area, played his college baseball at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The Islanders, one of the better nicknames in college sports. And Anderson pops this one up right side, foul territory. Boscan on the run, and that will bounce just near the Cougars bullpen. I have to imagine that Corpus Christi would be a pretty fun place to go to school.
I would think so too. You know, I guess I never realized that it is kind of an island. Or at least it's near the Gulf of Mexico. Once you said that, I'm like, is it really an island?
And they've got a minor league team there. Corpus Christi Hooks.
That's right.
In the Texas League.
That's a good point.
Throw over to first, and Kerrigan back in time. You kind of don't really think about Texas and islands, as there's another throw over. Kerrigan back, but well, you've got Corpus Christi, also have South Padre Island down there.
Right. Yeah, it's tucked into a bay, and its beaches are sheltered by Padre and Mustang Islands. There's a whole bunch of geography that just kind of astounds me.
Oh, yeah.
From time to time.
Well, especially if you've ever seen, you know, a lot of times the size of Texas is even underplayed on a lot of U.S. maps. It's massive. One-two, and this hits Anderson. So the Cougars now will have runners at first and second with 1 out. Hopefully Nick's all right. Looks like that might have got him on the shoulder.
BJ Lopez.
I thought it was a little bit lower. We'll have to see. Quickly jogging up the first base line. Grauer upset that he couldn't fully control that one, though. Fargo-Moorhead, again, a very good team, so they are playing pretty tight. They're just not going to cough up any mistakes. Lake Country, a good team, too, but they did help out the Cougars a few times with a few errors and some other circumstances. Cougars are definitely going to have to earn more runs and a win in this one.
First pitch to BJ Lopez. Skied into right field near the line, and the right fielder Silviano makes the catch. Lombardozzi will tag up from second to reach third, but there's now 2 away.
Shortstop, number 5, Alexis Pantoja.
That brings up Alexis Pantoja, who made that great defensive play in the last half inning. Now he'll look to do it at the plate. Pantoja grounded out his first time up, but he came into this game 5 for 10 in the last 2. Runners at the corners for the Cougars with 2 outs. And you mentioned Fargo-Moorhead not making the mistakes, and have to imagine there will be a completely different vibe to this series than that Lake Country series, which was a ton of high-scoring games, big innings on both sides. Pantoja grounds this to the right side. The first baseman Boscan backhands it and steps on the bag for the 3rd out. So the Cougars threaten but can't come up with a run. We'll head to the 5th with Fargo ahead 2-1. Joe Brand will be on the play-by-play next.
Leading off for the Cougars, third baseman.
This is the score so far. Cougars trailing the first place Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks over of the East Division, rather the West Division, by a 2-1 score. The Cougars are your East Division first place holders right now. Cougars 10-5 this year. Fargo-Moorhead 12-3, and the Redhawks winning 9 straight games. Right now a 2-1 lead as we begin this bottom of the 5th inning. Donovan Williams puts a big swing and a miss at the first pitch, 0-1. He doubled and scored the only Cougar run back in the 3rd inning. But as we were talking about it earlier, Fargo-Moorhead has won these last 9 games, not in blowouts, but very tight ball games. Williams now behind in the count, 0-2. Alex Dubord, the Redhawks closer, has 7 saves this year. That's almost double what the Cougars have as a team. Although, can't really complain if the Cougars are just picking up a lot of their wins in blowout fashion.
Yeah, he'll take that, but a 5-1 record for the Redhawks in 1-run ball games, and that just shows they're a disciplined team and they play well in those tight games.
1-2 is a line drive to center field. Sanford, though, able to run it down after some solid contact from Donovan Williams. Out number 1 to begin the bottom of the 5th. Here's Milton Perez.
Number 18, Milton Perez.
Perez grounded out his last time up. However, it was a productive ground out, moving from Williams to second to third base. Cougars were later able to bring Williams home. Want to know the count to Perez. There's a flare to shallow right. Maris coming on over and makes the basket catch.
That is not an easy play coming over from second base, but Maris able to get it done. He's got a smile on his face. He might be thinking, I don't know if that's how I intended to play that one, but he got to it anyway with the basket catch. It's a tricky area right near the line, but Maris able to get there.
Well, especially considering how much he was sprinting by the time he made the catch. That is normally the second baseman's ball. Way too difficult for the first baseman to come up with it, but that doesn't mean it's a walk in the park for Maris over there at second either. As Cornelius Randolph takes low. I don't know, it is pretty cool with a guy named Maris on the field. I understand we've cleared it that he's not related to Roger Maris, but
I agree.
That Billy Crystal movie, 61, it's a big reason why I'm a baseball fan.
It was fantastic. I was probably too young to watch it. But I watched it anyway.
It was not rated because it was an HBO show or movie.
Well, if anything, doesn't that make it even worse than something in theaters?
Yes, but as a 10-year-old, that's how you persuade your parents to be able to watch it. Not rated because it was only on HBO. It wasn't in theaters. But the cool thing is, we had the actor from 16 Candles. There's a bouncing ball. That is foul.
Molly Ringwald?
No, the boy. Anthony Michael Hall. The kid, the blonde kid.
Yeah, of course.
He's also in Breakfast Club.
Yep.
And George Samus was all about him, calling him Farmer Fred. And he was here at the ballpark last season, and we had him on the air, and we're talking about all those 80s movies he was in. And then he brought up how he was in 61, and I'm like, that's right, you were Whitey Ford. Like, I loved that movie. And then we just spent the entire inning talking about that movie.
It was really well done.
My favorite part about it is how much the actors actually looked like Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris.
Oh, definitely.
2-2 to Randolph. Another little flare to shallow left. Liriano's got a better scouting report, though, on Randolph this time, and that is out number 3. It's the second perfect inning for Grauer as he's now in line for the win. Cougars still trailing by a run. We head to the 6th from Kane County.
45 studio locations.
Pretty good pitcher's duel going on here in Kane County. It's a 2-1 lead for the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks as we dip into the bottom of the 6th. Tyler Grauer back out on the mound. He's retired the last 5 Cougars that have come to the plate. They'll take on Sherman Johnson, Steve Lombardozzi, and Jimmy Kerrigan in this home half of the 6th inning. He's Connor Klingen. I'm Joe Brand.
Leading off for the Cougars, second baseman, number 10, Sherman Johnson.
This is game 4 of a 6-game homestand for the Cougars. Series opener against the Redhawks. Battle of first place here tonight in the American Association. The Cougars repping first place in the East Division. Fargo-Moorhead repping first place in the West. First pitch to Johnson's a strike. He's 0 for 2. Temperature has cooled off a little bit with that sun going down. Still a bit muggy. Should mention we are official now, being in the bottom of the 6th inning, but the score leaning the wrong way in favor of Fargo-Moorhead.
I'm going to knock on wood, but it looks like we're pretty safe until at least 9:30.
That's good.
Yeah, it looks like it's still, even past at about the 9 o'clock hour, the storm will be still a bit west out into DeKalb.
Miss low. Good take by Johnson. Evens up the count. Big left-hander Grauer finally gets his sign. 2-2. That's another close take. Full count. Lefty-lefty matchup. Here's the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Only the second strikeout for Grauer tonight as Johnson's put away for the third time.
Number 8, Steve Lombardozzi.
Brings up Steve Lombardozzi. Lombardozzi's been pretty active over at first base today. One and two so far tonight. 1-4-2, I should say. Single back in the first. He grounded in the fourth. My goodness. Over the NHL playoffs. Game 1 of the Western Conference Final between Colorado and Edmonton. 5 goals scored in the first period.
Oh, wow. That should be a fun series.
That should be. Got a fast, talented Edmonton team. There's a line drive punched into center field from Lombardozzi, his second hit of the night. Cougars once again gets the tying run on the bases. Now just a matter of bringing him home. Here's Jimmy Kerrigan. Yeah, you've got the fast, talented Edmonton team taking on a talented, big, strong, tough Colorado team.
Yeah, that classic speed and skill versus the physicality. How long has it been since the Canadian team won the Stanley Cup?
Part of me wants to say the early 90s. Another part of me wants to say the 70s. Silviano tracks it down. Number 2 in this 6th inning, and that'll bring up Nick Anderson.
I have a guess. If
well, was it the Oilers?
I think it was the Canadians in 1992 or 1.
Well, the Blackhawks lost to the Penguins
in 91, right? Or 90?
I think 91, yeah. The 93 Canadians. Too bad Winnipeg isn't the Cougars' opponent right now, because then we could be appeasing to a lot of the Goldeye fans. In fact,
well, they probably don't like the Oilers, though.
That's true. Let's see, when does Winnipeg come to town? About 2 weeks. No, next week. Here's a flare to right center field. Sanford has to play it on a hop and botches it for a moment. Lombardozzi with a heads-up turn over to third base. Think he would have made it there regardless. But now the Cougars have runners at the corners, 2 outs, and it'll bring up B.J. Lopez. Another look at it. I mean, with a runner going to second, odds are he's going to turn and go to third anyway.
Well, this is what we've seen the Cougars do all season, just string together base hits, but they need another one right here with 2 outs. Big moment for B.J. Lopez.
So far tonight, the Cougars have stranded 4 runners on the bases, 2 of them in scoring position. Well, they are trying to knock around Tyler Grauer here. Nobody warming up in Fargo Moorhead's bullpen just yet.
And the plates, pitcher number 14, B.J. Lopez.
But again, the Cougars have had base runners on. Only been able to drive in 1 run so far. Lopez 0 for 2. Still one of the top RBI leaders with 11. Takes it just outside. 1-0. Grauer getting closer to that 80 pitch range. Breaking ball drops in, 1-1. Two and 1 to Lopez. Lombardozzi at third base, Anderson at first. The Cougars are out hitting Fargo Moorhead 6-5, but they trail by a run. Big swing and a miss, 2-2. Lopez with a home run a few nights ago. He is the Cougars' home run leader at the moment with 3. Any hit would score and tie this game. Runner takes off, and this one fouled away.
A 2-strike count, and Lopez knowing the runner's going as well, so had to make contact there. Just able to foul it off and stay alive.
Still a 2-2 count to Lopez. Anderson was taking off on the last pitch. Staying put. Another foul ball. Another 2-2 coming from Grauer. Soft bouncer to third. Pena handles it with ease. And the Cougars squander another opportunity. They strand 2 runners. It's 2-1 Fargo Moorhead as we enter the 7th. Connor Klingen takes back over on play-by-play when we come back.